Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Standpoint, he's there. Wait a minute.
That sounds loud.
Wait a minute.
It's driven. Could it be a 4-for-4 round tripper? What is in this man's bat?
Goodness, what are we looking at here? Who goes 4-for-4 in spring training with 4 bombs, by the way? And that one was touched, too. You could tell it had the same sound off the bat.
Yeah, I got it good. That one felt good. I know you said the other day you aren't trying to hit home runs right now, but I mean, just how fun is this to be on a run like this, and how good do you feel up there? Yeah, I feel good. Just trying to see it and hit the ball in the barrel, honestly. But, you know, we talked about it, trying to just continue to work in the cage early and, you know, put myself in a good spot to win the game.
That was, of course, courtesy of Masson and
Josh Tolentino, I think.
And Josh Tolentino of the Baltimore Sun, as
Definitely.
Vance Honeycutt is going to hit 100 home runs this season. That's all he's going to do is in every game, they're going to pull him up there in the 7th inning. He's going to hit a home run. There is no doubt about it. Good morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I am Glenn. He's Griffin. And, yeah, four legal at-bats. There was also a walk in there. 4 home runs for Vance Honeycutt in the spring. And this goes back to once upon a time, Jake Fox hit 10 home runs in the spring. Now, I think Vance Honeycutt has a chance to be a better Major League Baseball player than Jake Fox proved to be. But just it's all maybe be careful. Don't get too carried away. Or hell, get carried away. What the hell do I care? Do whatever you want to do. Just think you're setting yourself up for disappointment if you believe that Vance Honeycutt's going to be a difference maker at the bigs. He still, has to get to AA and succeed there. But it doesn't mean that I'm discouraged by the fact that he's hitting home runs in the spring. A lot to do on the program today. Coming up a little bit later on, I'm very nervous that our conversation is going to sound like the Chris Farley show, and I'm just going to talk about all of the things that he did that I loved. But Cedric Mullins is going to make his first appearance with us since leaving the Orioles, frankly. Obviously now with the Tampa Bay Rays. But looking forward to catching up with Cedric Mullins for the first time. It's going to be emotional. As you know, Cedric Mullins, literally one of my all-time favorite Baltimore Orioles. Also today, Josh Odunowo from UMBC. They're getting ready to host the America East Tournament, or their games in the America East Tournament, much like Navy. They're playing home court games, and so they will be hosting for as long as they're in the America East Tournament, starting on Saturday after they won the regular season title. We'll chat with Josh Odunowo. We will talk NFL Draft post-Combine. Daniel Kelly, former NFL scout, now running a site called First Round Mock. He is going to join us a little bit later on, and we will chat with him about what he saw from everybody at the Combine and where he thinks the value will be at the 14th pick. So we will do that in a little bit as well. But before we do any of those things, we need to head down to Sarasota, where our next guest joins us, courtesy of Warnkin Law. When you need results in Baltimore, you don't play small ball. If you've been hurt in a crash, call 443-RESULTS or visit warnkinlaw.com. That's WARNKEN law.com. FanDuel.com and 443 results. This man always gives us results. He is, of course, Stan the Fan Charles. Stan, I saw you had the first hot dog of the spring. How did you enjoy that first hot dog of the season, sir?
That was pretty good.
Yeah?
It was pretty good.
What
at
was
at Ed Smith Stadium. Yeah, very tasty.
What was on the first hot dog?
I had the appropriate the right amount of mustard on it.
Is it just mustard for you?
I'm a just mustard.
Just
guy.
mustard for Stan. You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
I don't really even like ketchup, Stan, but I do still like the combo of ketchup and mustard on a hot dog. I don't.
That's funny. I don't like it on a hot dog, but as the years have gone on, I love it on a hamburger.
Oh man, I'm a barbecue sauce man on a hamburger myself. Go figure.
Really?
Go figure. And you know what? My wife is a mayonnaise person on a hamburger, which is very odd.
A mayonnaise
Yeah,
person.
it's very odd to me. It was actually one of the
How
things.
did you marry that?
Stan,
you
you asked that question, but I'm telling you, I think it might have almost fell into irreconcilable differences. I was very concerned. All right, so how many home runs is Vance Honeycutt going to hit at the major league level this year, Stan? Over, under 77.5?
I think he's going to hit 0 at the major league level.
Man, I'm stunned. I can't believe that. Way to go.
What this little brief thing has done, though, and it's quite remarkable, you know, when you look at his professional record. In 24, after being drafted, he batted about 76 times at Delmarva and Aberdeen with no home runs and about a 176 batting average. Then last year, in 435 plate appearances, he had 5 homers, 24 runs batted in, and batted 171.
Mm-hmm.
So the notion that he's suddenly, because of these 4 at-bats, going to jump up and grab a major league spot is kind of ludicrous. But what he has done is walk from the precipice of being a disastrous pick to maybe getting a second look by the Orioles. I mean, I know they hadn't given up on him, but they had to be greatly disappointed in the year he had last year. So I think what he's done is opened enough eyes that, especially Craig Albernaz's eyes, and he's going to, I don't know whether he'll start this year back at Aberdeen or whether they will move him up to Chesapeake, but he's going to get a much more scrutiny moving forward right
no
now.
doubt. And obviously, I guess I should point out, you know, it would be Frederick now instead of Aberdeen, of course.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Stan, the story of the day yesterday, Andrew Kittredge is going to be sidelined into the start of the regular season. I know Craig Albernaz said that Tyler Wells is going to be focused as a bullpen arm. I guess the question becomes, are they committed to him being the late-inning leverage arm that they'll need in Andrew Kittredge's stead, or are they still going to try to play like the in-between game with Tyler Wells, where they want him to still have some length in case they might need him as a starter at some point?
I think, with 6 starters looming, and I'm saying looming because of Zach Eflin's situation. I haven't seen him yet. I only got here Tuesday, and only saw one game yesterday. So I don't know what the plan is. I'm going to be talking to Craig Albernaz with the media at noon today, and that'll be a topic at the top of my questions, is when we might see Zach Eflin. But with 6 starters looming and off days and weather days in April, I think Tyler Wells is finally going to be nested in a relief role. And with Kittredge out, a high leverage, spot. And it also begs the question whether the Orioles could still be in the market. We've thought that they would look for a left-hander still available, and there's a couple of those floating around. But a guy like Michael Kopech, I know there comes a great deal of risk with injury, but he's a guy that can throw the ball 98 to 102 miles an hour. Maybe Michael Kopech may look very attractive to the Baltimore Orioles.
I think it would make a lot of sense. I just want to confirm, Eflin is starting today, correct?
I got to be honest. I just arrived here.
Okay, I believe.
You probably This is what John Colson gets when he sends me down here.
Yeah.
That you and Luke know more than I do.
Griffin is confirming for me that Zach Eflin is making the start against the Rays today. So we will see Zach Eflin.
The kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I present to you from down here.
Well, now you don't have to. Now you can bring something more pressing with Craig Albert.
I'll look very foolish if I ask Craig Albert that question. But I haven't looked at the lineup yet. I did I recorded another little hit from down here that I sent in about the number 34 and Shane Baz. That's not a great number in Oriole history. 34. You know, Shane Baz wore number 11 with Tampa Bay, but you go over the luminaries. I think we'd agree that Storm Davis is probably the most significant number 34 in the history. You got Kevin Millwood, Nelson Briles, Fernando Valenzuela, Chris Benson, whose wife
Anna,
was her name Cindy?
Anna Benson. I
Anna,
remember
Anna
her well.
Benson,
Yes,
that's right. Yeah, she was more known than Chris Benson.
Yes,
but I'll tell you what, there were 3 Robinsons that wore the number 34. Earl Robinson, an outfielder in the 60s, and then the Orioles traded Mickey Tettleton around 1990 or 91 to the Tigers for Jeff Robinson. But there's a guy you may remember. He's more known for another number. His name is Brooks Robinson. That was his original number.
Stan, I've been alive for 42 years. I've had many conversations. I never knew that Brooks Robinson wore another number besides number 5. Yeah. I never knew that.
When he first came to the majors, he wore number 34.
I had no idea.
At least he wore it in spring training or something like that. But I think he wore it when he first came up and played a little second base back then. So all I'm saying is, look, Shane Baz's stuff looks very, very good. He struggled in the 3rd inning. His first 2 innings, he breezed through them. But if he's to really be significant, he's battling uphill against that number that he's wearing.
You know what? And we know that Stan, if there's one thing that Stan is going to get to the bottom of, it's whether or not it's an appropriate number that someone is wearing.
That's right. The minute I saw it, I went,
Nope. Now, are you going to talk to Shane Baz about it is the question. Are you going to go over
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to.
Stan, I feel like that might be one of your responsibilities while you're down there, is just to make sure he's aware of the history of the number 34, so that maybe he, like Brooks Robinson, thinks about it a little bit more and says, there might be a better number for me to wear here.
Maybe he could wear number 5. Maybe they could talk to the Robinson family about it.
I mean, I just don't see that one happening. I don't see that being the case.
Hey, a couple other observations.
Please.
Colton Cowser really looked very different yesterday at the plate. I was really focused on watching Colton Cowser. And much more, I thought, much more focused at bats. And I watched him in all 3 of the bats. I think he had 2 hits yesterday. I just liked his at bats and his approach. So I'm going to really keep an eye on him, because I remember when the Orioles hired a new manager, a guy named Johnny Oates, one year, and he came into camp and he said, this guy Brady Anderson, who had done nothing for about 4 years with the Orioles, going up and down between Rochester and Baltimore, maybe even Charlotte, but he had done virtually nothing. And Johnny Oates came in and said, this guy's going to be my center fielder and he's going to play every day. And maybe Albernaz being here, it's fresh set of eyes, hitting coach different. Maybe they've got him, and I'm sure he knows what he had to focus on. But for one day, I was very impressed with Colton Cowser and the day that he had.
May that continue to be the case forever. May that be the case, as obviously he's going to be the guy. Stan, I know you and I talked last week about Kobe Mayo, and we certainly didn't expect that he was going to be playing any shortstop, but we got to see that briefly over the weekend. In talking to people down there, I know you and I think, share apprehension about the Kobe Mayo at third base experiment. In talking to folks down there, has your apprehension, Has it gone down even a little bit?
No, I still have some apprehension of him defensively, but I think it's time to finally look. Once they signed Pete Alonso, the sort of the deal was sealed that he was not going to be the Orioles' first baseman unless Pete Alonso would get hurt, and Pete Alonso's a guy that figures to play 155 to 160 games. He likes to go to the post. Now, he did DH yesterday, and Ryan Mountcastle played first. But I think it's high time that the Orioles, because of the situation with Jordan Westbrook, just find out how much is his bat going to play enough that the deficiencies at third are a problem, or is his bat going to outweigh that? And I think it's high time we find that out because, first of all, his value goes way up when Jordan Westbrook gets back, if in fact he's hitting well. And I think it's time to find out. You can't sort of, as the late George Wallace used to say, we're not going to pussyfoot around that. You can't just continue to kick the can down the street. You got to find out whether he can play that position.
And then, Stan, my last one for you for this. Any off the radar, I think that this is someone that we should be talking about as a real chance to make this roster that maybe we're not talking about because, we just don't see it.
That's a better question to ask me next week, when I'm back in town. I've only seen one game down here. I've always liked Tyro Estrada.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at the possibilities that could come in and defend at third base or help at second base if Blaze moves over there, Tyro Estrada is really a solid defender. If he can just hit a little bit, I think he's got a chance to nudge somebody off of this roster before the season starts.
Stan the Fan, you can check out his videos over at PressBoxOnline.com, and all of his coverage from spring training is brought to you by Warnken Law. You've been injured in a crash, your medical bills are piling up, and the insurance company is giving you the runaround. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. And at Warnken Law, they represent the injured across Maryland, whether it's a car accident, medical malpractice, or a serious injury. They fight for the maximum compensation that you deserve. They've been voted the best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. Give them a call, 443-RESULTS, and it's not just a phone number, it's a mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call Warnken today, 443-RESULTS, or visit Warnken-Law or WarnkenLaw.com. That's 443-RESULTS or WarnkenLaw.com. Stan,
hey, Glenn,
yes.
one more observation. Again, it's only one game, but I like the way Adley Rutschman looked yesterday.
I love that. Love the sounds of that.
Yeah. First of all, he looks like he's in a good bit better physical shape than a year ago, and of course with those injuries he had last year. But I don't think he came into camp necessarily in the best shape. He looked good, and he looked pretty focused at the plate. A little bit more in command of his at-bats than I saw yesterday.
Excellent. Stan the Fan. We'll talk again. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Glenn. Anytime. Bye.
Stan the Fan Charles live from Oriole Spring Training in Sarasota, courtesy of Warnken Law. Busy day here on GCR, so we're going to move things right along and switch gears from baseball to football. Of course, the combine in the rearview mirror, and I know everybody's focused on the start of free agency, but we will continue to do our weekly draft segments. And joining us now, a former NFL scout. You can find his work at firstroundmock.com. He is Daniel Kelly, and he is with us here on GCR. Daniel, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to meet you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us. Daniel, I apologize. I think you're on mute. If we can't get you to hit that. We sure? Do we have you
There we go.
There we go.
There I am.
Got you, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today, guys. Absolutely. It's nice to come up for air for a minute from the game film that I'm grinding today. So it's good to be on.
All right. So it doesn't affect us in Baltimore whatsoever, but I know there's been a lot of people that have been after you about Mendoza. Can you walk me through practically what you see in Fernando Mendoza and why maybe you're not as high on him as everyone else appears to be.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, there's such a profound difference between college football and the NFL. I mean, even the size of the football is different, right? I mean, Kenny Pickett found that out the hard way with the Pittsburgh Steelers, going from Pitt to the Steelers. There's so many differences. The differences in coverages, and a lot of times in college football, it's a lot of off-man coverage, a lot of zone. It's just, a lot of the guys in the college ranks are never going to even sniff an NFL locker room. You got to look at the level of competition, everything. And when I say all this about Fernando Mendoza and people see the grade and the value that I put on him, and that's really what essentially what a grade is the round value. It's not to take anything away or showing kind of disrespect what Fernando Mendoza has accomplished in the college ranks, at Indiana. I mean, winning the national championship, winning the Heisman, as well as he played there. But we've seen it, right? We've seen it throughout the decades that a lot of times these guys who perform pretty well in college just do not translate that well to the NFL. So with that said, when I look at Fernando Mendoza, I wear what I call NFL colored glasses. I'm looking at these guys from an NFL perspective. I'm looking at these guys from the standpoint of what kind of traits and variables are they showing. I try to extract those traits, patterns, and tendencies from the film in terms of consistency. And I'm looking at these guys, and Fernando Mendoza, to me, is a very poor college to NFL translation. He's a guy that, from an athletic standpoint, he's stiff, mechanical, awkward, 6'5" guy. He played in a system. I feel like Indiana was able to kind of cover up a lot of things with him. They built the offensive system in Indiana around, the limited things that Mendoza does well. And then they were able to kind of camouflage a lot of his weaknesses. What do I mean? He stood there in the pocket like a statue, glued to his spot, clapping for the snap. He either handed the ball off to the number 13 ranked rushing attack in the country, or he stood there basically and threw the ball a lot to the outside, bubble screens, tunnel screens, outside the numbers, down the field, back shoulder throws, deep behind the defenses, basically any kind of throw that would offer him the absolute positive most throwing leverage that could create and protect and pad his completion percentage against a lot of guys, like I said, who would never sniff an NFL locker room. It worked well enough. I was like screaming at my television during the national championship game. I'm like, when are you guys in Miami going to tighten up the outside coverage and stop playing this ridiculous off-band coverage and be able to tighten up the outside and get some pressure in his face? Because when Mendoza has pressure in his face, I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. I think PFF, Pro Football Focus, dropped him to a 51.2% completion percentage when he's under pressure. ESPN said, whenever he's forced to move off his spot, his completion percentage drops to 53.2%. I mean, my goodness. I mean, even his time to throw, PFF had him under pressure, at rank number like 262nd in college football at like 3.65 seconds. So to me, the writing's on the wall. Basically, a lot of the things that he does. I mean, these NFL corners are savvy. They're experienced. This guy's an NFL cornerback's dream to me. I mean, they're just going to learn to sit on these limited elementary routes that he can throw. These 3-4 different routes he threw on the route tree at Indiana. They're just going to sit on them. And when I hear people talking about this thing with, let's get him out to the Raiders, my goodness. I mean, the Raiders have given up the second most sacks in the NFL over the last 2 years at 114 sacks per StatMuse. And then, of course, 64 sacks last season per StatMuse, leading the league. You get a guy like that, a statue back there. And this is, I put pre-draft Hall of Fame grades on Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, and I still hate the projection of Mendoza to the Raiders. I just do not see it be a good fit at all. I have a 4th round value on him, which is a low ceiling developmental grade.
Wow. That is bold. We will. I know there will be people that'll be remembering that, and we will see how that plays out for Fernando. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that in Baltimore. Not our concern here. Daniel, to you, a team sitting at the 4. It's interesting because a couple of names I know you've just written about on your website. Like Caleb Banks is one I definitely want to talk about because I think that could be an area where the Ravens could be looking. Where is the strength in the middle of the first round? Like, what are the positions? Because I think the general conception is that the strength might be at maybe non-primary positions. It might be like that guard is a strength in the middle of the first round. And where are you, defensive tackle, as we just discussed? Where is the strength in this draft in the middle of the first round?
I think you just hit on two of the spots, the offensive guard that I love from Penn State. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, a number of different people have mocked, Vega
yeah.
Ioane to the Ravens. This guy is a fanny kicking offensive guard in pass pro and also run blocking. I mean, he run blocks like he means it. This guy is like, he must love breakfast because his specialty is pancake blocks. I mean, the guy likes to drive people into the ground like he's trying to plant tulips or something out there. I mean, he's an aggressive, mean, nasty offensive guard who just seems to really enjoy just finishing people, almost like a Mortal Kombat type offensive guard. You'll finish him, and he just drives them into the ground. I mean, yeah, he's the type of guy that offensive line coaches would absolutely adore. They'd want to adopt this guy in their family. I mean, in pass blocking, he's a smart guy. This is something, of course, the Ravens always look for, is these high IQ football players that show the high football IQ on tape. This is what, Ioane shows. He shows that, he can handle. He got a lot better, I felt like. See, in 2024, what they did with him in Penn State is they moved him all around. I mean, this guy played everything from left guard, the right guard, the center, to left tackle, right tackle, tight end. They lined him up at fullback. That's where I get the idea that he has a high football IQ, because he can line up at all these different positions. But in 2025, they did still get some of that. They kind of did some creative things and shifted the offensive line around stuff at Penn State. But by and large, they really settled him into that left guard spot, that traditional spot I feel he fits at. Whether it's left guard or right guard, he can play either one. It doesn't really matter in terms of, the Ravens, depth chart right now and situation and free agency and things. But this guy, it shows a high football IQ. He can handle the stunts, the blitzes, the games up front, the delayed blitzes. He works very well in concert with other offensive linemen. And in lieu of, maybe losing a Tyler Linderbaum to, free agency, if he follows John Harbaugh up to the Giants, for example, this, Linderbaum obviously was good. I had a first round grade on him coming out of college. He can get downfield too and make blocks. I think, the Ravens would recover some of that by drafting a Ioane who can also get downfield, athletic, can make the blocks at the second level where the linebackers reside, can get further downfield. I mean, God have mercy on a defensive back that gets in this guy's way downfield. I mean, he blew those guys up like it was fun to watch. But I mean, this guy's a real legit guard. This is a guy that fits the Ravens, fits their offensive line DNA to a T.
What about you? We bring up the defensive tackles. You wrote about Caleb Banks. It seems like there is a huge disparity in the opinions about Peter Woods from Clemson, and some people who think he is worthy of that top half of the first round, and other folks that I've talked to are like, I'm not sure he's even a first round pick.
Well, that's the thing. Peter Woods is an interesting study. I've removed him from my board.
Wow.
I had a first round grade on him in 2024 in his film. See, what I do is my process is maybe a little bit different than a lot of processes. I watch every single game of these guys during the entire season. I'm not just watching a couple games, 2-3 games. I used to do that, but I wanted to try to, tighten the margins up even more as far as like, the hits and misses and stuff. And so I mean, I looked at Woods. I said, okay, in his 2024 film, I said, this guy's got it. But then I turned out his 2025 film, and it just felt like at Clemson, he just lost his motivation and lost his way. And I dropped him down to a 4th round value, which is a low ceiling developmental guy. Does he flash? Yes, he does. Is that good enough for the Ravens? No, it's not. It's a guy that kind of plays when he wants to, and when they start showing that they're losing their motivation pre-draft, which is supposed to be the most important season of their lives, and they're not showing it on film, that really scares me. So I just had to kind of back completely off Peter Woods and turn my attention towards Caleb Banks.
And Caleb Banks, is he worthy of a top half of the first round pick? I mean, I know he's a freak.
He is. This is a 6'6", 330-pound man mover. This guy is he shows shades. I'm not going to make the comp. I'm not going to go on record to make the comp, but he shows shades of Jalen Carter, the Eagles' great defensive tackle. He has that to him when he decides to turn it on. Now, 2025 was not the year that, I had a 2024 first round value on Banks. I said, okay, this is a guy right here. This is a guy that can really push the pocket, can really disrupt things. He's a good pass rusher. He's got an overpowering swim move. He's a guy that can get into the pocket, disrupt things, kind of blow up the pocket, that kind of a guy. But this last year, of course, he dealt with these injuries from the fall camp coming into it. He missed a couple games. He missed more games, with the foot operation he had to have, but he bounced back for a couple games at the end of the season against I believe the Seminoles or the Volunteers from the top of my mind. And, he showed. He's like, okay, there he is. Yep, that's him. And so right now, NFL.com, which is where I kind of look at in terms of sources of intel, everybody's got an opinion, but I really value what NFL.com says because they have their ears to the wall, obviously, and they have the contacts and people will pick up the phone and tell them things, right? And so I see, Banks being mocked right now at number 19, I believe, to the Carolina Panthers. So he's another guy that's in that discussion, and he can play nose tackle in that 34. He can come in there. I know the Ravens got an established nose tackle there. They're paying a lot of money to.
As long as he's healthy and Matabike, obviously, and that's a huge question they're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. But they got some commitment, some money there in the cap and stuff to him. But this is a rotational guy that can keep people fresh, come in, make some noise, third down pass situations. He can generate pressure inside, which of course is a weakest spot of a lot of offensive lines around the NFL. Is that center and guard spot. The best athletes, best pass protectors are playing outside at left and right tackle. So you can bring a Banks in, and he can really blow things up in the middle. I like that pick as kind of a wild card. That'd be like my third option. I think Ioane's the first guy I'm looking at there. And then there's one other guy that, maybe, cornerback is another spot is really tantalizing in that mid, that 14, the 20 side right there. Cornerback, I know the Ravens have invested a lot and done a lot with first round picks at cornerback, but there's a couple guys sitting there at cornerback that could be in that area. One's a dark horse. One's another guy that's, I think, mocked right now, the number 20 to Dallas, which is Colton Hood out of Tennessee. I love the idea, especially with Marlon Humphrey becoming, he's getting up there at 30 years old. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. I love I had a first round grade. I put a first round pre-draft grade on Nate Wiggins. I termed him as a lockdown corner. I love the idea in a passing league where 31 out of 32 teams passed the ball more than 50% of the time last year, according to teamrankings.com. I love the idea. It's all about passing the ball and stopping the pass. And I love the idea of getting another physical lockdown corner opposite of Wiggins, where you can have him back there with Starks and Hamilton, and all of a sudden you have four guys back there that are first round young guys that can really hold down the secondary for years to come. So if it's not the guard, if it's not the defensive tackle, I love the idea of a cornerback, either Colton Hood out of Tennessee, and my dark horse who I'm working on right now before I jumped on the show is Tacario Davis from Washington, another 6'4", long, lanky, long arms, a press man corner through and through, a guy that, ran a 4.4 140 at the combine, 37-inch vertical. Sticks to receivers like glue, best in press man coverage. It really mirrors guys, physical, doesn't get called for penalties a lot, but is able to get really physical and intimidating with receivers. He had some injury issues this year, like a Caleb Banks, but this is a guy who's a prototypical Ravens cornerback who would be really exciting to see. Hood's a better all-around cornerback. He's better against providing run and pass support on top of the coverage skills. Tacario Davis is more of a pure cover corner who I had a first-round grade on my 2024 film in Arizona before he transferred to Washington.
All right, two that I want to run by Daniel Kelly before I let you go, and really appreciate the time. One,
appreciate you.
I have, admittedly, I do not watch the way that you do. I do not scout the way that you do. But I did fall in love, like so many did, with Ruben Bain in watching the postseason. And I read what you wrote, and I think it's very fair. It is Ruben Bain that is somehow – I know there are people that believe that he's the top, player in the draft. There's others that say, his size is not good enough. You can't draft him there. If he's slipping, if he's around 9 or 10, is he someone that's such a difference maker that it's worth the Ravens thinking about loading up an organization that has not had a serious, franchise edge rusher post Terrell Suggs, would it be worth loading up to try to move up and get Ruben Bain if he starts to slip a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the beauty, to your point, Glenn, about the draft, is everyone sees things a little bit differently. It's not a science. But Bain is a guy that, when he's another one. I mean, and most of them are like this. I mean, there's times where they get lax on film. They take their foot off the gas a little bit. It's just kind of, it seems to be the way of the college football these days. But when he hits that switch, he is unblockable coming off the edge, and he has this mean streak to him that there's like this switch that just goes off in him, and it was fun to watch. It was fun to evaluate. It was fun to write his report. And so best player on the board. If he starts to slip a little bit and he's at that 10-11 spot or something happens there, to your point, and the Ravens are sitting there at 14, it might be time to make a phone call, move up in the draft.
And then this one seems like a complete wild card. Where are you with Kenyon Sadiq? Because the Ravens are going to lose Isaiah Likely in free agency. They did pay Mark Andrews, but I think most of us think he's on the tail end. They have had so much success. Is Sadiq the legitimate freak, like almost like having another wide receiver, or do you still have questions about him?
I still have questions on him. Now, in all fairness, he's on my list. I know he had a great combine, NFL, like all combine team. He made that on NFL.com. He definitely moved up my priority list as far as evaluating Sadiq. But Sadiq made me nervous. I heard a lot of big press coming into 2024 season on Sadiq. And when I turned on the film, I put a third-round value on his 2024 film because there's just some things. He just looked really raw to me in terms of his overall route running. I mean, when I see first-round tight ends, I get excited. I mean, I put a first-round grade, like I said, on Brock Bowers and these guys and Kyle Pitts and these different people. I mean, the good and great tight ends stand out like a sore thumb on college film. And, Sadiq is an athletic freak. There's no question about that. But, again, it comes down to, it's not just about traits. That's where I think teams make mistakes. That's where a lot of people have made mistakes on a lot of these guys. It's not just about traits that show up at the combine in gym shorts and a t-shirt. It's about how do these traits translate to the film consistently? Are these guys consistently showing this stuff? So I'm excited to see him. I still haven't put a final grade on him. I think I got 2 more players to go before I finalize my grade on Sadiq. But I feel at this point, I have him as a 3rd-round pick. Could he move up? Yes, but he's a guy that's going to have to prove a lot to me on film to move him into that first round, especially a top half of the first round. Because it's just, you have to be able to run those routes and do those kind of things that those guys are asked to do.
Daniel Kelly, what are folks finding at First Round Mock?
I'm sorry?
What are folks finding when they go to firstroundmock.com?
They will find the most comprehensive draft reports I believe that are available in the industry. I offer probably the most grading accountability, transparency. I have the only draft platform in America that offers not only lists all the games from a transparency and accountability standpoint, but I also provide the links to the games so fans can go in there and they can look at what I'm saying. They can see for themselves. They can be more involved in terms of the draft experience for themselves and actually look at the tape themselves and say, hey, this is what I see happening, because like you said, people see things differently. But I mean, I have 750 word reports on all the top guys in the country, and a lot of these guys I go back at season 2 or 3 on a lot of them. So if you're looking for information on the draft, you'll find it like nowhere else on firstroundmock.com.
Daniel Kelly, really enjoyed this, man. Would love to do this again before the draft if you can squeeze us in as you are
likewise.
Absolutely.
I love coming up for air. I mean, I'm looking at tape and doing these reports 17 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I love the opportunity to come on the show with you guys. Man. You guys do a great job.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time for us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Continue the good work. Enjoy the draft, everybody.
Daniel Kelly, First Round Mock, former New York Jets scout. Appreciate him taking the time for us today. Let's grab a break. We'll come back in. We'll talk some hoops as we get into March. That's next. Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website costasin.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR, and it is officially March, and this weekend, in fact, on Saturday, UMBC begins hosting the America East Tournament. They start with the quarterfinals against New Hampshire after they clinched the America East regular season title. Joining us now here on GCR, a very important part of that group. He is a senior. He is in his – actually, technically, he's a grad student, but he's in his second year at UMBC. And now he's an America East regular season champion. He's Josh Odunowo, and he is with us now here on GCR. Josh, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, and congratulations.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for talking to me today.
Absolutely, dude. Josh, can you tell me from last year to this year, right? The biggest thing that jumps out at me is the defense and the strides that you guys have made as a team defensively, from being at the bottom of the league defensively a year ago to being at the top this year. Can you tell me where that came from, how this group sold out to become such a better defensive team this season?
Yeah, man. I think, I think Coach did a great job of recruiting guys that, really fit how he wanted to play defense and how we play. And 2, I feel like everybody just bought in. I feel like ever since we came from the jump, Coach kind of told us what it would take to win this year, and it was kind of defense, rebounding, and just playing hard. Especially because that's where we fell short last year. I feel like we did a lot of good things last year, but that was what ultimately kept us back from winning. And I feel like we all knew that last year. So I feel like just coming in this year, we already knew what to kind of focus on. And I feel like we just had a great group of guys that were able to buy into it.
The word buy-in really does jump out to me because it's not just defensively, but like this is not a one-man show by any stretch of the imagination. On any night, it really seems like it could be any of you guys. Where is that unselfishness came from and that belief in each other that it feels like, maybe tonight it's Ace, maybe tonight it's DJ, like how has that worked that no one has needed to be the alpha and everybody can sort of have their role?
Yeah, I think it started from the summer since we started hooping. I feel like ever since we came together, we all realized how many talented guys that we had. And, it was kind of hard kind of to picture out like who would be able to do what and who would be able to do that just because we had so many guys that could do so many different things. And I feel like, we just had a great group of guys that were unselfish. And I feel like, it's just more fun playing that way, when everybody gets to, contribute and everybody feels like they could do different things on different nights. I feel like it's just more fun when everybody feels more involved and, everybody has a piece of that pie.
Josh Odunowo from UMBC is with us here on GCR. Josh, when did you realize? Like, was there a game? Was there a moment, a practice, anything like that like made you think, man, we really have an opportunity to be special this season?
I think, early in the season, hanging with guys like Dayton and Maryland, I feel like, just being in those games and, I've been in those, high major games, those big games before, but just being in those games and actually, having like a real, like, yeah, we can win this, or like, yeah, we can actually like, go out here and accomplish something. I feel like just early in the season, I just felt the belief of this group could just do something special, just be able to go into any game that we played and just like actually have a real belief that we can win. So I feel like it just started early. And then like, in conference, I feel like after we lost to Bryant, I feel like even though we lost, that's just like when everything started to turn around for us. We just kind of started to lock more in on defense and just trying to take away layups and doing different stuff like that. I feel like, after that, it was kind of like a wake-up moment because I feel like we all had a bitter taste in our mouth out of that. And, nobody wanted to feel that again.
It's one thing is to win the league, and it's another thing to be just pantsing good teams the way that you guys have been down the stretch. Like, where has this come from, this sort of zone that you're in? What has gelled even more these last couple of weeks of the regular season?
I feel like the main thing with us is that, we were able to be in a place where we didn't get complacent. It's easy to win a couple games and then, feel like you're doing good and just be able to, kind of coast to that level. But I feel like the goal for us was just to keep getting better every day. And that's what we kind of try to do. Like, we all, busting our tail in practice. Everybody's still getting in extra work and just, trying to get better. And, I think that's really helped a lot, just being able to just stay focused and keep trying to get better. Because even though, we're playing at a high level, I feel like everybody on this team feels like we still got more to go. We still got like a higher level that we could play at. So, I feel like just chasing that is something that's really been helping us.
It's really cool, man. And you, by the way, very much at the top of the list because you've been playing some of your best basketball down the stretch. Is part of that just like realizing the opportunity that's in front of you and like recognizing, this is probably it, right? Like that you have this chance to write this incredible chapter here at the end of your career.
Yeah, that definitely helps a lot. But I feel like a lot of it also too, like, basketball is a rhythm sport. So, getting hurt early and just, being put back in rotation, kind of with a bunch of different guys that, I practiced with before, but haven't really got a chance to play in games with. So just trying to get that rhythm back, I feel like just being able to keep putting in work and, having coaches that support me, teammates that support me, that's really been big, just trying to get confidence and rhythm back. And I feel like that's just really been helping this second half of the conference.
What about the part for you where you're back at home, right? Like, what has that meant to you, your family? To take nothing away. Dude, they wouldn't even let me on Ivy League campuses. Like, I am not nearly smart enough to be hanging out there. So it's amazing that you were able to get into an Ivy League school and have the success you did. But to be able to come back home, I'm sure it's meant more friends, more family that have been able to do this with you and be at the games. Like, what has that meant to you as part of this season?
I mean, I feel like it means the world to me. I mean, like, the DMV is a big basketball area. A lot of people, make it out to D1, different levels of basketball. But specifically where I'm from in Howard County, it's not, that doesn't necessarily reign the case. So just being able to be back home at the D1 level and, bring a lot of guys out, friends, kids out that, haven't really seen this. I feel like it means a lot, especially because I feel like impact, that's what it's all about, when you're able to impact people. And I feel like just being able to bring my friends and family to something that they've never seen, only seen on TV and stuff before, has been unexplainable.
That's awesome, man. What a blessing that is for you, for your family. That's so cool, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Josh, how do you, do you have to have the conversation with the guys? Like, I'm sure you guys did. You're celebrating. But, like, maybe the NJIT game proves that you were still clearly focused after winning the league. But, like, did you have to talk to the guys about, hey, this is business moving forward, nothing's given? Or did they all kind of understand that?
Nah, I think everybody understand that because, I feel like everybody on this team is a competitor, so nobody wants to lose. And, I feel like, what's kind of understood doesn't have to be explained. So I feel like everybody understands, where we're trying to get to. Knowing that, we're trying to, win a championship in any game, can affect that. Because, in this sport, momentum is a real thing. So, you want to have good momentum going into your next game. And I feel like we all understood that, and we just took care of business.
Man, it was clear on Tuesday night. You definitely took care of business. There's no doubt about it. What is What is it going to take, right? Like, to make sure that you get the job done and that, you are dancing come next weekend. What is it going to take over the course of these next 9 days in order to do that?
I think we just got to, keep trying to get better where we can and keep playing our brand of basketball. Just keep relying on our defense and, playing hard, and, the offense and stuff will come. Because, I mean, we've seen it in the league, like some of these games can be real clunky, real weird. So, sometimes you just, shots might not fall, the offense might not be in rhythm, but I feel like as long as we play our brand of basketball, just play hard, lock it on the defensive end, I feel like everything else could take care of itself.
Man, it's working out so far. All right, I got a longtime listener and a friend named John who, like me, also went to UMBC, and we recently found out we lived in the same building when we were at UMBC. We just never knew each other during the time. So, Josh, we want to know where on campus have you lived since you've been at UMBC, or do you live on campus?
Oh, so I live in Walker. Ever since these last 2 years, I've lived in the Walker apartments.
All right. We were in Potomac Hall and legitimately just found out this week, and like at the exact same time, and never knew each other, which is wild.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Small world.
Right. Well, we call it Smaltimore, man. That's the way that it works around here. That's the thing we call it.
Yeah.
Josh, I obviously, I'm assuming you know the history of UMBC basketball. To be able to do this at home, like UMBC hasn't clinched a league title at home in decades. 18 years. I mean, it was 2008 was the last time it happened, right? What does it mean to have the chance to do this at home and have the campus energized and everybody invested in what it is that you're doing?
I feel like it's great. I feel like, not only great for, this squad, but future years to come. I feel like this is starting to, we're going to be able to start something, culture here with basketball. So I feel like it's just been great just being able to know that we can have people come out, friends, family, experience us trying to, make the dance. I feel like, that's the goal. And I feel like, a lot of people only seen it on TV. So I feel like just being able to come out in person could be a whole life-changing experience.
Man, it's absolutely going to be a really incredible atmosphere. I was there in 2008, and it was something special to behold.
Yeah.
That was at the old arena. We were all squeezed in like sardines over at the rack that day. It'd be special.
Yeah,
next week.
The rack, yeah.
Man, I hope next weekend a chance to do it at the Peak for the first time. Josh Odunowo, where can folks be giving you a follow on social media? Twitter, Instagram, anywhere like that?
You can follow me on Instagram at Josh10K, and then on Twitter I'm at Slim Huncho. And yeah, man, those are about all I use.
Hey, Josh, congratulations on an awesome season that you've had so far, and we can't wait to see what's next for this group over the course of the next 10 days. Appreciate you taking the time. Go get them on Saturday against New Hampshire, and let's talk again soon, all right?
Yes, sir, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Today and taking the time to talk to me.
Of course, dude. Good luck, man. Thank you. Josh Odunowo from UMBC with us here on GCR as, again, they get ready for America East quarterfinals this Saturday at the Peak as they will be hosting New Hampshire in that first round at 1 o'clock. Talked about it with Navy, same deal, an opportunity for you to take your kids and for them to experience postseason basketball and that feel of March Madness. 2 teams hosting locally because they won their regular season. That's very cool. We don't need to talk about the events of last night's game for the University of Maryland because why the hell would we? What would we possibly say?
They played, or
well, did they though, Griffin? Did they?
There were people wearing Maryland uniforms.
That part is true.
Yeah.
I do.
That touched a basketball court.
Do know that.
Did they make any? Did they make any baskets?
I think Guillermo Del Pino did. I'm not going to pretend like I was watching. You know what I watched last night instead? I finally watched Marty Supreme.
Oh, really?
Last night.
Interesting. And how?
God, what?
How was it?
How many more can the Safdies come up with? Like, how many more? Like, it's.
It was very Uncut Gems. Like,
it's exactly Uncut Gems. And in a way, it's what I told you. It's if I had legs, I'd kick you. Like,
I've got to watch this one.
We can, with all due respect to Timothée Chalamet, who did a phenomenal job. Calling him the lead actor in the film is unfair because the lead actor in the film is anxiety. That's the leading role in any Safdie film.
Tyler, the Creator, did pretty good.
Tyler, the Creator, did a very good job, in fact. I thought Gwyneth Paltrow was outstanding. Look, it's
Odessa
yes. I couldn't. I was just going with it because I don't know better. It's a good film. I'm not saying it isn't a good film. I just feel like I'm watching a film that I've watched before. It's just it's sort of like the you know what I talked about with NBC and the Reggie Dinkins thing? Like it's different, but it's also very much the same.
Yeah.
It's Girls 5 Eva. It's Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It's 30 Rock.
You've got different names and actors and time periods
and where you're placing the set. Like, we're going to set this one in a hospital, and now this one's going to be set in an office, and this one's going to be set in an NBC show, and this one's going to be set in a football player's a documentary. Like, or one was a girl group. You're just changing the functionality, but not the real structure, and that's the Safdie brothers concept. And did they break up? They broke up, right?
Safdies,
they're like doing their.
Yeah, they went off.
But it's still the same thing. And I'm not saying it's bad. All of these films are good films. They are. I start to have that feeling of, God, man, I don't know how many times I can get on this ride that I just want off. Like, I just want off the ride.
I think that's what they want. I think honestly, they'd probably be pretty pleased to hear what you're saying.
And this one ended a little bit differently than some of the other ones have. Maybe that was a bit unique, but I don't know. I'm not saying it was good. It was a good film. God, man. Like, thank God I wasn't never sit down and watch a Safdie film if you're struggling with anxiety, because it might send you over the edge.
So that one was Josh.
This one was Josh?
Yeah.
And if I had legs, I'd kick you was Benny?
Benny did... no, he did Smashing Machine.
He did Smashing Machine.
Yeah.
So who did If I Have Legs, I'd kick you?
I think it was somebody else.
But it was a A24, wasn't it?
Was it?
I'm pretty
gotta
sure.
Watch it. It's on my list. I want to watch it before next Sunday. So,
I mean, again, oh my God, she was exceptional.
Mary Bronstein.
But it was A24.
It was. Okay.
Yeah, it was A24, and Josh Safdie was a producer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Yeah, it was very much. Oh, it definitely. Again, might have had a different director, but it had all of the thumbprints. Like, they do anxiety. That's what they're out there selling you anxiety. And by the way, we can all appreciate it because we're all dealing with it. If there was ever a time in our history to make anxiety a leading feature in a film, we're all feeling it. So I get it. By the way, that's John Heberlin, who we've known for years, and not just a UMBC fan, but he's a local college hoops fan in general, and so he always checks in whenever we're talking hoops. Found out this week we lived in Potomac Hall at UMBC. I guess I was talking about it the other day on the show because my roommate. I was talking about playing basketball, Peter Mulligan at the rack and 9/11, and my roommate being on the soccer team. John.
And then he was like, my roommate was on the soccer team.
Well, no, John. When I said the athletes dorm, he was like, "Wait, did you live in Potomac Hall?" I lived on the top floor, and I lived one floor below that. I was like, "Yeah, I did." I lived one floor below you in Potomac Hall my freshman year of college at UMBC. So we found out of all literally the same year, same building, which is wild, Jack. Like a wild way to find that out.
That is wild.
Smaltimore, baby. Smaltimore. But yeah, good luck to UMBC as they get underway in the America East quarterfinals. I did not watch the Maryland game, but I saw people sharing Guillermo Del Pino air balls on my. Somehow that was what was coming through on the timeline last night. I said, not great, not great.
Well,
we're going to chat with Cedric Mullins here in just a minute. Before we do that, some sad news this morning. Dr. Lonise Bias, according to InsideMDSports.com, has passed away. And you probably know the last name, and Dr. Bias is Len Bias's mother. Over the years, when a notable birthday would have come up or an anniversary of his passing, Dr. Bias would regularly be the one that would do interviews and do a lot of the media to speak about Leonard, as the great Lefty Drizel would call him, and his legacy and how unfortunate it was the way that we treated Len Bias's legacy in the immediate aftermath of his passing, because of the kind of scandal that surrounded the drug culture in the 1980s, and how we thankfully, in the years that followed, sort of righted that ship in the way that we discussed the greatness of Len Bias and focused on that part of him and not the way that he died. And Dr. Bias was a significant figure in shifting that conversation about her son and telling his story the way that it deserved to be told, and was a regular on lots of media platforms over the years, and someone that I greatly appreciated every conversation I ever had, and can't imagine the sadness that she dealt with in her life. You know, not just losing a son, but losing a son who had the world on his shoulders. An unfathomable sadness. And the grace with which she handled that, and the relationships that she made with so many people connected to Maryland over the years in basketball. Dr. Bias was a really remarkable woman, and very sad to hear about her passing, as that was reported by Inside MD Sports today. We'll come back in. We will chat with Cedric Mullins, and I'm probably just going to tell him that I love him the entire time. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCRs, continue on a Thursday edition of the program. I'm trying to think of stuff. There was something that I definitely wanted to get to today, and I don't know how I've completely blanked on what it was. God, this is what happens. We had to cancel the meeting today. Now I'm all screwed up. I know there was something else that was on my list for today that was something I was like, we got to talk about this.
Well, there was breaking news. I guess we.
What is the breaking
DJ
news?
Moore is going to Buffalo.
That's official.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's a significant move.
I've not seen the compensation. It's a mid-round pick.
Who's that courtesy of?
Rappaport.
Ian Rappaport says DJ Moore to the Bills. I mean, I definitely would have given up a mid-round pick for DJ Moore. Now, I get it. This is probably where I'm going to come off hypocritical because, like, I'm saying I'm looking for the prototype wide receiver, and DJ Moore isn't the prototype wide receiver. I mean, he's bigger than Zay, but he's not. And he plays this is where it gets confusing, because sometimes when I say prototype, there are guys that are more like 6 foot that just play big. Like Anquan Bolden was not a prototype, but played bigger than he was. It was more physical than bigger. DJ Moore, as we saw in the regular season game against the Packers last year, DJ Moore can absolutely do more than just speed, right? Like, he's not just a burner. It is weird that he's going to be on his third team. Like, that part is weird.
What year is this for? I mean, he's been
like 6 years, right? Like that. Like,
was it 20? Was it 2018? Is that no?
I don't think so.
17?
I think he's.
Oh no, he's 28.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he
he's
came
only
out in 2018.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's more than 6 years. All right. Fair. I love DJ Moore. That definitely makes the Bills better. Obviously, that was a major problem for them. I mean, like, they just have had nothing. Mm-hmm. Now they get, maybe not a true one, but I would say at least as true of a one as the Ravens have. Like, if not a true one in DJ Moore. For the Bears, I get it. They've got Odunze, they've got Burden, but I don't know, giving him up for a mid-round pick, that's wild, Jack. It's just wild. I don't know. That's boy. I know that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's not this simplistic. It's not simplistic because there's money involved. I'm oversimplifying it.
Yeah.
This to me is a no-brainer for the Bills.
Right. I mean, because it looks a lot like the Stephon Diggs deal, kind of. What did they even give? I guess they gave up more for Diggs.
I think it was a second. It was a first.
Oh,
It might have been a first
yeah,
for Stephon Diggs. It might have been a first. But yeah, irony, 2 Maryland receivers.
Yeah.
The Bills have gone turn to. The first one worked out obviously very well for them. We will see how it goes with DJ Moore. My gut is it works out very well for them because DJ Moore is really good.
It was a first, a fifth, a sixth, and then the following year 4th.
Okay.
For Diggs.
It was that much.
Yeah, it
Mullins, notable. All right.
They said a 7th round back.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's really not that much when you think about it. Today's show is also brought to you by, County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for you to find out everything you need to know about high school sports. Regional finals continue on the girls' side tonight. And then headed towards championship weekend next weekend at the public school level for basketball. Find out scores, schedules, updated brackets by going to CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Had to do this earlier because of his schedule down in the spring, but we would make any time at all for the great Cedric Mullins here on GCR. Well, it's been too long since we caught up with our next guest. It pains me to use the words former Baltimore Oriole, and it's going to be even tougher this year because we're going to be seeing more of him in the division against the Orioles. I'm going to root for him forever, but I don't know how I feel about the fact that I'm describing him as a Tampa Bay Ray. He is our friend Cedric Mullins, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Cedric, it's Glenn. It's so good to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I miss these conversations, and it's been a minute.
Dude, this has been I was sort of telling you before we started talking, my kids are 11 and 8. And it's funny because John Oliver told a story about Pete Alonso and how his son was a big Pete Alonso fan because they're Mets fans. And I have been talking all week this week about how much that hit home with me because my boys are the biggest Cedric Mullins fans on the face of the planet. And I had not
I love that.
I hadn't experienced this before with them. I mean, Santander, they were very hurt about that. They loved Anthony, and we all loved Anthony, obviously. But that last summer, was one of the most painful. I felt like I was telling them their dog had died. It was the most difficult thing I think I had been through outside of, when their grandfather passed away, to let them know that you had been dealt. Can you walk me through the emotions and everything that you go through? Because I know it's a business, but you had been blessed to spend so long in one organization. How tough is it when you go through it? Are you fully prepared for it? And what has it been like, obviously, now moving on to a third organization in the span of a year?
Yeah, just kind of how the year unfolded. There was definitely some mental preparation in regards to the guys being moved, even myself being traded to another team. Had no clue who that might have been, but just always knew that the possibility was creeping up, especially towards that deadline. And like you said, it was a very emotional situation just because I had been with Baltimore my entire career, from the minor leagues, from the draft to the minor leagues and on. Baltimore holds a special place in my heart simply because, I felt like I gave my all year in and year out for the city, and, vice versa. The fans, came out for us as well year in and year out, even through tough times. It's not like the seats were completely empty. There were still fans out there that were truly dedicated to, what we were trying to do out there, which was win games every single day. But yeah, the process of going through the trade, it was tough. It was the first time I had to pick up and ship basically everything that me and the family had built in Baltimore and move to a different state, city, all the above. And so that transition was not easy, but like you said, it's part of the business. And, to experience that for the first time prepared me for what is now with Tampa in terms of just, coming into a new organization, getting a feel for the guys, getting a feel for, the philosophy of the game that Tampa brings. And, it's an exciting moment.
Is there a real emotion to I was here, as you point out, through the dark years, played a massive role in getting it turned around. Is there a pain of not seeing it fully come to fruition to win a World Series with that organization that you did so much, you put so much sweat equity into making this team a winner again?
Yeah, no, 100%. It was always tough to not feel like we accomplished our goal, which was to win a World Series with, the group that we had built together over time. And, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth, but at the same time, there have been plenty of guys that don't even sniff the playoffs, don't even get to experience, the intensity and the fun that comes with being a postseason team. So, I'm super grateful with what, transpired over those years in terms of how we built ourselves up as a postseason team.
It said, I know you've moved on from Baltimore, and so I'm revisiting these things, but what did it mean to you to go through all of that again, and specifically knowing everything that you went through, and getting there and having to go back and having to earn your way back and becoming a legitimate star and such a beloved figure? What did it mean to you that it did work out at least the way that it did for a good amount of time here in Baltimore?
Yeah, from my personal experience going through those rough patches myself, the growing pains of trying to figure out what it takes to be an everyday Major League Baseball player. I mean, it was some tough days. It was the emotional and mental side of having a starting role in 2019 and then getting sent to AAA and then having my struggles there and then finding my way back in AA to crush a lot of guys and a lot of spirits. But I always had this thought process where, if I was going to make my way back, it was about trying to get 1% better each day and showing those results on the field and showing those adjustments and, basically maintaining the plan of how do I get back? And then when I get back, how do I stay? So there was a lot of back and forth in terms of how I felt about myself and how confident I was and, going day in and day out. And then you throw, COVID in the mix and it was just a bunch of craziness going on. And then to turn around in 2021 and finally have everything come together in a special way, it's hard to describe.
Man, it really was, and it was special to watch you play. Do you have – because one of the things whenever we talk about you is the reason why you were everyone's favorite Orioles because everyone's favorite moments were all you. Like, were all your catches or the cycle. It just seemed like everything. Do you have one that is – like a Cedric Mullins of all of your greatest hits, and my God, there are many. But is there one that to you particularly stands out or, I don't know, means something to you because somebody was there that night? Or just, like, is there any one of them that's most meaningful to you?
I have two off the top of my head. The cycle definitely was one. It was the introduction of the bird bath.
Dude.
And of course, that day, we're focused on the win. I had no clue what I was going to end up producing that day. But start to finish, I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. And, I'm just barreling balls up and I'm hustling out the box, making things happen. And then I come to that last at bat and everyone knows I'm a home run shy of the cycle. I know I'm a home run shy of the cycle, but I said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And, ended up getting a pitch that I could handle and hit for the cycle that night.
Dude,
that was a special moment.
That reaction, that was, Hank, before you talk about this, that reaction, that electricity, man. Like, I'm telling you, I'm still getting goosebumps talking about it right now.
No, that was super fun. And then, of course, the second one in my mind was the game out in Seattle where I was coming off of injury. Trying to find my footing back in terms of timing and the swing. So I didn't start that day. Came in as a defensive replacement. Defense was always on lockdown. And then sure enough, came through when I needed to with robbing that crazy homer. And and of course, I'm like, look, we got this game now. This was the play that won us the game. And they end up tying it anyway, which was unbelievable. The excitement and the energy in that ballpark was ridiculous. And then for me to come up with an at-bat where I hit a foul homer, and I was like, dang, that was it. That was my chance. But I stayed locked in. I took a nasty curveball prior to that next swing, and sure enough, caught another barrel, sent it over the wall. That was just a crazy, crazy game.
So I have to tell you this story. I don't know if I've ever really talked about it. Because the game went on for a while, I went to see Oppenheimer that day in the movie theater. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, but I couldn't wait any longer. So I'm sitting in the back of the movie theater as the movie is starting. Like, it's through and I'm watching the game on my phone. And I yelled. And people turned around like, what is wrong with you, you maniac? And then I showed them, and then they were actually on board. They were okay with it afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
I remember calling my folks, and they were reacting the same way. They were losing it.
That's so cool, man. Cedric Mullins is with us here on GCR. Said, I guess the question I would have to answer or ask is why Tampa? Why was this the right fit for you as a free agent in making this move? The first time again you've ever been through something like this.
Yeah, there was a lot of thought that went into it. I think the biggest thing that went into it was because I was coming off of a tough finish last year, which equated to a not so good season. I was looking for opportunity to be an everyday guy, opportunity to play center field, and Tampa initiated that conversation early, and I wanted to jump on that opportunity. It was a lot that went into the decision in terms of, having discussions with the wife and the family and just making sure that, we're making the best move possible to continue forward in regards to my career. But there were a lot of positives that came from the conversations I had with Tampa.
You haven't been back yet. Have you? It's going to happen now, obviously. Have you thought about what it's going to be like and what it's going to mean to you to come back to Baltimore this season?
I have. It's going to feel really weird coming into the stadium and I'm on the away side. It's going to feel weird watching guys that I've played with for many years being my opponents. It's going to be weird getting, the roar from the crowd, but it's not for something that I've done yet. It's just for me coming back, but it's going to be a very special feeling.
You mentioned that. What did it mean to have like a couple? Boy, everybody knew what was going on that final week before the trade deadline, and you, of course, because it's what you do, Cedric the Entertainer, delivered even more moments for us to remember. What did those reactions, even like before it happened, and when you could say we didn't know, but everybody knew, what did those reactions that last week of July mean to you?
Yeah, it was such a weird vibe in the clubhouse. Of course, we're coming up on the deadline. No one knows what's really about to happen, but we know it's about to be quick and catch a couple folks by surprise in terms of where they might be going or, whose name gets called. So for me, my thought process was to treat everything normal. Go about my day as if nothing is changing. Go about my day as if I'm staying in Baltimore and put my best foot forward, and that's exactly what I was able to do, and really, put a special moment on it. Who knew that would be my final play in Baltimore up to this point,
dude? And I don't know. You say that, but knowing you, that nothing surprises us. Nothing surprises us. That's the way it worked out. I want to ask where you are. Like, I know you've been through a lot the last couple of years with health and consistency and playing your best. How good do you feel going into this season that you're going to be able to be the best version of Cedric Mullins, and we know what that looks like when you are?
Yeah, I said the focus at the end of the day is always how do I keep myself on the field? How do I maintain health? And so that's what the offseason was, and I think I did a really good job of fine-tuning a couple things that might have been missing in, pregame routines and activation and mobility work, and bringing it to Tampa where, the staff is going to be keeping an eye on, different things in terms of workload and things of that nature. So we're progressing really well, especially, early in spring, want guys to come out of camp early. And then it's just a matter of the consistency part, like maintaining, certain aspects of my strength and going about my routine in a disciplined fashion. That's making sure I stay to what works, and if there needs to be tweaks, don't go too far out of the box. Try to keep it within, a controllable amount.
And then lastly said, because I remember once upon a time, I've talked to you about this before, Adam telling me, hey, you need to get to know Ced. He doesn't always talk, but he's got a lot to say. And it meant a lot to me because I went over and introduced myself, and my God, I've enjoyed every conversation we ever had. But I was talking to Enrique last year, and he was talking to me about how important it was that he got to know you last spring and how meaningful it was for him as he's making this jump. I wonder what those conversations were like for you, what you got to know about Enrique, and maybe what you learned from your time around Adam and what that maybe did for you in taking on the role of being that leader for the next guy that came forward.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned from Adam is finding a way to get the best out of guys by having them be themselves. And so my conversations with Enrique were getting to know him just as a person, his family background, what he enjoys to do off the field. And then that translated into him being able to, take a breather and be his best self when he's on the field, a relaxed environment. But at the same time, there is an intensity that I, also bring day in and day out, where there's a focus behind what I do to prepare to be the best on the field. And so when I'm able to kind of bring both of those sides to a guy just through conversation, I think they, truly understand where I'm coming from, and they try to, adapt to make that a part of their game as well.
Cedric Mullins, the nice part about me not being like a beat reporter anymore is I can just tell you we love you, and you will be a beloved figure in this town for forever, and we are so grateful for everything you did. It pains us that it's not here, but as I said, we might not be rooting for the Rays. We'll be rooting for you forever, and so grateful for every memory that you gave Orioles fans during the course of your time here in Baltimore. Wishing you the absolute best always. Thank you for doing this with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I greatly appreciate it as well. It's been awesome, like I said, and of course this won't be our last conversation, but it's been awesome.
Man, I really do love that guy, and it's a bummer for me because like I don't want to take anything away from the guys that are still here, right? But like it was so cool for that group of guys that went through all of the S that they did, that really were the ones kind of responsible for lifting the Orioles up after that. Take nothing away from Adley Rutschman, who, we oftentimes line up like when Adley arrived, that was when winning came, right? But Cedric Mullins, Anthony Santander, Austin Hayes to a lesser extent, Felix Bautista, guys that were here through the shit, through when it sucked. Trey, who unfortunately didn't get to be really a part of.
Throw Ramon Arias at all in there.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent. I don't want to give him.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to put it like I think he's maybe a rung down from that group, but they were the ones that lifted it up. It was just so cool. And you know how baseball works, and you understand it. And look, Cedric had been streaky and up and down, and I get it. Although, as we talk about how much faith do we have, I hope Colton Cowser proves to be worthy of an everyday center fielder, or
I hope he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean that would be. I'm gonna start. Let's start with worthy of everyday center fielder, and then once he gets
for
there,
stars, you land on the moon,
then
right?
We move on to the next one. I hope that proves to be the case. But telling me that for the number that Cedric Mullins got, I wouldn't have liked it to have been Cedric Mullins. Maybe again as like a hopeful stopgap to get you through to say maybe if there's any chance it can be Enrique Bradfield moving forward.
We got Leody Tavares starting in center field today.
It's great. So, yeah, it stings. It stings a little bit because you'd really like it. You'd really like those guys to be here and succeeding, and you'll have very romantic feelings about, to me specifically, Cedric and Anthony Santander. And part of that is related to my kids that like I didn't have a favorite Oriole for 30 years. Because to me that's something you do when you're a kid, right? Like when you're an adult, you kind of root for everybody.
Jeez, you hated Adam that much?
I mean, I guess Adam was. That's fair. But damn it, I hate that you. But you know what's really funny? Like from a fan standpoint, I don't know that I was more of an Adam fan than I was a Manny fan, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was more just relationship.
Markakis and
yeah, I wasn't a bigger Adam fan than I was a Nick Markakis fan, but getting to know Adam, you fell in love with the guy. Like he was the best. Which is hilarious because as I always remind everybody, we literally got into a fight on opening day in 2012. Not a fist fight.
Maybe we should set that up.
Oh, it almost like I've told the story before.
Well, I mean, just because it's such a lucrative business now.
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
Celebrity boxing matches. Is that what?
He would murder me.
Can we call it celebrity?
And he was gonna murder me. I don't know what the hell was. I was young and stupid and like brash, and I was just like, "All right, man, I'm gonna meet you." I swear to God, when we texted each other. I don't know how much we want to tell that story because he's a professional.
Well, you got to get him on here to.
No, I think we've talked about it before. I don't know. I really. He's an ambassador now. I don't want to be.
I'll work on a tail of the tape.
But you fell in love with Adam. Like the moment you got to know him, you fell in love with him beyond. And then what he became for this city, yes, obviously he became Mr. Oriole. And to be fair, we didn't have one of those post Cal Ripken. Like from Cal Ripken to Adam Jones, there was not a Mr. Oriole. And I don't know if there's going to be another Mr. Oriole, right? Like, in a way, for some people, there's only one ever Mr. Oriole. There's Brooks Robinson, and then there's everybody else. But in the era of who was the beloved central figure that you would just go to the ballpark to watch, it did kind of go from Brooks to Cal. Not to take anything away from Eddie Murray or Jim Palmer, but just the way that it worked out time-wise, Cal kind of became the guy. And then post-Cal, there was nothing. And then Adam came along. And I hope there will be, I hope Gunnar Henderson is going to be that guy. Personality-wise, I don't know. We'll see. He's never going to be a larger-than-life personality, I don't think. He's certainly not going to be Adam. But to be fair, Brooks and Cal weren't larger-than-life personalities. They were really great baseball players whose personality kind of matched the way that they played on the field. And that might be what Gunnar proves to be for however long he's here, which I hope is,
at least 2 more years.
I hope. But Cedric kind of became my favorite Oriole because my kids needed a favorite Oriole. Because they started to fall in love with baseball. Because the Orioles were good and their friends were into it. And Cedric and Anthony Santander were exciting. Did things that other people didn't do. And so they fell in love. And the fact that I had known, I never really knew Anthony Santander. He did the show one time, and it was my God, it was a 10.5, right? I was like, Jesus, I thought I liked the guy. But holy hell, I like him so much more. But I would be lying if I said I knew Anthony Santander. I don't know Anthony Santander. But I got to know Cedric Mullins, and Adam wanted me to know Cedric Mullins. And Cedric was not say personality. He's not Adam Jones, not at all. But you listen to that, and he does have a lot to say, and it still hurts. It does. It still hurts because you uniquely fell in love with these guys because of how kind of unexpected it was in 23, and Cedric, of course, because he gave you every moment that you love from this. I mean, my God, if you named your 5 favorite moments of Orioles baseball in the last decade, in the last decade, I guess maybe Trey, the home run that got.
Yeah, is there anything between 15 to 20?
I mean,
no,
not really.
Yeah.
Nothing
no.
that. I mean, Stevie Wilkerson pitching was like a neat anomaly, but it was a neat. It's not like Chris Davis pitching in Boston is a real memory. Stevie Wilkerson pitching in L.A. or in Anaheim was an anomaly. It was just this is weird. I mean,
John Means. Okay, we do have that.
John Means the no-hitter, but that was. That was
right. That was 21. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So there's it's Cedric. Trey Mancini, Mo flashing a light in the outfielder's eye so Trey Mancini could have a walk inside the park home run, and John Means throwing a no-hitter. And that's the list of them. That's and the September 6th from last year.
Yeah.
And that's the list. But most of them are Cedric. Most of them are Cedric Mullins. Appreciate him taking the time for us. I remember what it was that I wanted to talk about. It was, of course, Lou Holtz passed away yesterday. And I don't have any connection to Lou Holtz in any way. And I think for a lot of people, Lou Holtz was a caricature as much as he was a legendary coach. the role that he played on television. A lot of people talk about that weird Saturday night show that he did with Mark May and Reese Davis that would come on like after the last college football game of the night. Lou Holtz was a coaching legend, obviously. The last time Notre Dame like really mattered in football. Certainly their last national championship. Sort of the old guard of coaches and the personality that carried with them. I've gotten to know a lot of guys that did play for Lou Holtz over the years, although I don't think there was anyone who ever played for the Ravens that ever played for Lou Holtz. Because you don't realize how short – like you think of Lou Holtz in that era of coaches that just coached at one place for forever. He was only at Notre Dame for a decade.
That was just all he did?
Well, then he was just gone. Then he ended up at South Carolina for a little bit afterwards. But he had been at Minnesota before. Like, he had been other places. But in that era, you think about, like, Joe Paterno being at Penn State for decades and Bobby Bowden being at Florida State for decades. And Lou Holtz was a coach of that ilk. Like, he was in that category, but he was only there for a decade. Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes being at Michigan and Ohio State for forever. So I was trying to rack my brain last night if there was anyone that had played for the Ravens that would have ever played for Lou Holtz at Notre Dame. Like, Tom Zbikowski certainly was post Lou Holtz. Like all of these guys, Anthony Weaver was post Lou Holtz. But I know other guys. Bertram Berry is someone that we would whenever we'd have an Arizona thing, we'd bring on Bertram Berry a lot because he was a radio host out there and used to play for the Cardinals, and he would always do his Lou Holtz impression for me, and I loved it. An icon in the sport, a true legend, and safe home to Lou Holtz after a truly life well lived, no doubt about that. Jeff McClain, quickly before we get to tidbit, because I've got a game today. I got to get out of here. High school lacrosse starting for me. Speaking of countysports.zone, I'm starting my high school lacrosse season today.
Who we got?
Spalding takes on Everest Academy.
Everest?
Yeah,
the mountain?
No, up in Canada.
Oh, okay. They have one?
They've got their own. Not quite as impressive. Jeff McClain, who covers the Eagles for the Philadelphia Inquirer, tweets out the following. The Bills trading for wide receiver DJ Moore would theoretically take them out of the A.J. Brown market.
It was a 2 and a 5, by the way, officially.
2 and a 5.
Second round and a 5th round pick.
For
DJ Moore.
Okay, so that's more than just a mid-round pick. That's an early. Still, a price that I think I would have been willing to pay generically. I get that, again, is he different enough than Zay Flowers that it's worth paying that price? I don't know. We could have that conversation.
And are you going to have an offensive line and offensive lineman this year? I guess that's still a question.
I understand that argument.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jeff McClain. The Bills trading for wide receiver DJ Moore would theoretically take them out of the A.J. Brown market. They checked in with the Eagles about their wide receiver from what I understand. Patriots and Ravens are the most likely potential partners, especially as I understand it. The Eagles are inclined to only deal with AFC teams. I mean, I understand that part of the thought process, although I don't know if like the Cardinals were to bowl you over with an offer, you're really not going to trade A.J. Brown to the Cardinals. Oh, God, I'm terrified. Like, I would think that they would probably be. Now, an NFC contender, I could see them not wanting to
but like
trade him to.
Yeah, someone in the NFC South,
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, yeah, go have fun.
I don't know. Could you talk yourself into the idea that, like, if you paired A.J. Brown with Chris Olave and Tyler Shuck, that then maybe the Saints didn't become a contender? Maybe it really is that the Cardinals are the only team in the NFC where you'd be like, you go right ahead. You go right ahead on out.
Blow us away.
Yeah, right? Tell you what. I don't know. With the
what if that's what they came out and say? Any NFC or no NFC team except for Arizona. Sure.
Right. Look, the Patriots seem to be the team that would have the biggest need, right? They're moving on from Stephon Diggs. They need a top receiver. The Ravens could use a prototype receiver. A.J. Brown does fit the mold of what the Ravens need. It's just, would the Ravens really pay the price necessary to get A.J. Brown, particularly knowing everything that comes with that? Now, I remember Florio was doing the bit where, like, maybe if Lamar says they have to go get Tyreek Hill, they go get Tyreek Hill. I don't believe they would do that. First of all, Tyreek Hill might, even in a world.
Yeah, but if he says somebody else, right? I think that's.
Well, it's the comparison to Odell Beckham, right?
Yeah.
The belief is that what finally got the deal done with Lamar Jackson was them going out and getting Odell Beckham.
So is that what this was? Maybe the Bills just overheard. Lamar wants DJ Moore. Let's just make sure that he can't have him.
I don't know. But is there some world where maybe Lamar says, "Look, I'm going to sign, right? But I want you to do something for me," and the Ravens say, "Well, we've got some concerns. Rookie head coach with a wide receiver who seemed to be in a fight with his head coach like every week. That doesn't seem like a great combination." But I don't know if it gets the deal done. Would they? I still don't. I don't think so. I just don't think it's practical. I don't believe this is something the Ravens would do.
The Tyreek Hill thing, or
no,
AJ
no,
Brown.
I don't think. I think there's no chance on Tyreek Hill. I think it's only worthy of conversation for someone like AJ Brown. I don't think there's a chance. How would Tyreek Hill even?
That would
make
have
sense?
to be.
He's not going to play.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
Beyond all the other stuff, beyond the stuff that he's like, prime Tyreek Hill obviously is a lot better than Zay Flowers. Nobody's arguing, but he's not prime Tyreek Hill anymore. His skill set is basically Zay Flowers. So even if you ignored all of the other,
injury. Yeah.
Even if you ignored all the other stuff, which to me I can't do, but even if they did, an injured post-30 Tyreek Hill makes zero sense. You can let Lamar say a lot of names, but I'd say, Lamar, give us another name. That this one's nonsense. Just pick somebody else, and we'll talk about that. And if that was A.J. Brown, then, it'd be interesting to see if that. But I'm still going to assume, as I always do with the Ravens, I assume not.
Hopefully he says like Carnell Tate or something.
That would be great, but I don't think that's going to happen either.
What are you talking about? He ran like 5 seconds on the...
Right. To be fair, A.J. Brown is a former Titan. And so, at some point in his career, he's going to have to be a Raven. That's just the way that it goes. If you were a successful Tennessee Titan at some point.
We were talking about it yesterday, me and my buddy. Well, my one friend who's a Commanders fan, of course, he's like, "Oh, Mike Evans is coming to the Commanders," and I was like, "No, Mike Evans is the most Raven."
It is a very
ever.
Ravens. First of all,
but then I was like, "Wait a minute." After 1 year in DC, then he's the most Ravens.
That's because Mike Evans, I still think, has way too much left right now
to be a Raven.
For this to be the move for the Ravens right now. I think to your point, it's a year later that Mike Evans ends up a Raven. But A.J. Brown is going to have to serve his time in Baltimore at some point, too. Now, to be fair, look.
We thought that about Julio, though, and although I guess he could still come back.
He could. And he was a late career Titan. He wasn't really a Titan. I think, if you're really a Titan, if you make your – if you're known as a Titan, then you have to sign up.
When do we get to start talking about, Devontae Adams and him coming to Baltimore? Still a couple years out, I guess.
I don't think we're there yet. I think he's still.
But he will be.
Oh yeah, at some point. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by Live Casino and Hotel. We are just a couple weeks away from March Mania, and the best place to watch those early round games. You're taking off work Thursday or Friday. Come on, man. Sports and Social, Live Casino and Hotel with a 100-foot media wall, the great food and drink specials, and add in everything else, giveaways during the course of the games. It's the best. But book your tables, book your comfy chairs right now, because I promise you they will be gone by the time we get to rounds 1 and 2.
I guess we essentially just did the tidbit because we named half the guys that were going to be on this list. It was going to be a receiving one, so since 2018, because the top 2 guys on this list are available. But most 1,000-yard receiving seasons since 2018, so the last 8 seasons, the 2 guys at the top of the list have had 1,000-yard seasons in 7 of the last.
Mike
8
Evans.
Years. Mike Evans is up there. He's tied for first.
Is the other one A.J. Brown?
No.
The other one is Devontae Adams.
Not Devontae Adams.
No,
they're both in the top 5 though. Adams and Brown.
Okay. I would have guessed Keenan Allen myself.
No Keenan Allen.
What?
He must have had an injury in there.
That.
Only 4 times Keenan Allen's gone.
What?
For a century.
Keenan Allen farts and has 1,000 yards.
Yeah, or 1,000. Yeah, whatever.
Is that because somehow Julio is still in that?
No, Julio's not still in
there. I'm trying to think of who else you just named. Oh, Tyreek Hill, right? Yeah,
No, not Tyreek Hill.
Not Tyreek Hill.
Only 5 1,000 yards.
Who the hell else did we just name?
He's available.
He's available.
Mm-hmm. For anyone.
For anyone.
Even an NFC team. He's tied with Mike Evans for 7 of the last 8 seasons.